Welcome to the Fierce Goddess Collective. From our hearts to yours, we share the gifts of beautiful goddesses to the world. All right. Welcome everybody to the Fierce Goddess Collective and the beautiful Chenae, who has joined us today. Welcome. So I'm just going to give you a little brief intro to let you know what it is that Chenae does, and then we'll go from there. So Chenae is an intuitive business mentor specialising in businesses run by women. Chenae bridges the gap between practical strategy and intuitive guidance, drawing upon her Bachelor of Business and robust experience in the intuitive sciences to support her clients. Very impressive.
Nothing like having your bio read to you.
Oh, yes. But we'll have a more in-depth one down below after we finish.
Thanks, Amanda.
Oh, well, yes, welcome. And we have some glorious questions for you. So first of all, how would you describe yourself and what do you do in everyday life?
How I describe myself is fun, joyful, and upbeat, frustratingly optimistic sometimes, and free-spirited and free in lots of different iterations of the word free. And what was the second part to that question, Tosca?
And what do you do in everyday life?
In everyday life. So outside of work, just
Yes.
Yes. So I'm a fur mum to a gorgeous little fur baby who, fingers crossed, will be quiet for the time that we are here together. The beautiful Max, who's about 8 kilos and takes his guard dog job very seriously.
Wow.
At the moment, I currently live a stone's throw away from the beach north of Brisbane.
Yeah.
And I love doing yoga by the beach. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I love sunshine. I love being in the sun and soaking it up, especially when it's winter, even though winter where I live is pretty mild. But yeah, that's some of the things that I love in my day-to-day life.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I did touch on this slightly in the introduction, but what is it that you do to support women?
So as you read to me beautifully, Amanda, in my bio, my specialty is businesses run by women, because I think that the way in which we experience the world is unique to women, and the challenges that come with that. And I specialize in not just businesses run by women, but businesses where they are the business. So they're usually service-based businesses, and what comes with that is our own unique challenges and struggles, because when you are the business, like when you are selling quite literally yourself, all that comes along with that is based on, your stories, your dominant programs, your subconscious beliefs, and all of that sort of stuff. So the work that I do is both the energy work to support with those subconscious programs, but then also, and I spend quite a bit of time in this space, the practical strategy elements, like let's focus on this, and this for now, and kind of drilling it down, because a lot of my gorgeous clients want to do lots of different things all at once, and we kind of just pare it back so that we can just focus, because you can't tell if something's working if you're trying 15 different things at once.
I think I might resonate with that.
I find a lot of the things I say, a lot of the women that I speak to are like, yeah, that sounds like you know me.
A bit like a butterfly.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. And what a journey it is, isn't it? Like, it's owning your own business, because we're in business, is the biggest journey that you can do. I really feel that it meets your shadows, it meets your beliefs. As you said, Chenae, it really is like for the want of a better word, spiritual evolution. Like, it takes you to places that you never thought you would go to.
Yeah. It's like personal development on steroids, I like to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So moving right along, what is something that brings you joy that you are currently doing now, or that you are looking forward to in the future?
Oh, I could answer both of those, but something that I'm currently doing now that brings me joy is getting to know all of the dogs in my neighborhood. Like, I'm such a dog lover. And Tosca will know. Tosca was on a retreat with me a little while ago, and we were talking about how much we loved dogs, and we were doing some beautiful yoga with Tosca at the beach, because clearly I love yoga by the beach. Tosca just happened to be there teaching it. And this gorgeous Groodle came past named Olive. We all became friends with Olive. Olive is on Instagram. I follow Olive on Instagram. Like, it's a real thing. And so, yeah, I love connecting. I know all of the dogs' names, but don't ask me their owners' names, because it's like the connection is with the fur babies. So that brings me a whole lot of joy. There's a lot of dogs in the neighborhood that just bring me joy.
They're beautiful though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just so beautiful. Animals are just, especially dogs and cats, they have their own little personalities.
Yeah.
That they do.
Olive, what a lovely name for a dog, Olive.
Yeah. Oh, she was gorgeous. So I can imagine her now in my mind, and I just want to smush her. So cute.
That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So self-love and self-care. What's something that you do for yourself in those areas?
I have a sauna subscription at a place called City Cave that also do floats, massages. What else do they do? Infrared sauna, floats, massages. They're the main three that they do. So I've got a subscription so that every month, whether I like it or not, I have to pay for a sauna. So I damn well better use it.
Yes.
But that also then unlocks membership pricing for everything that they do. So I'll often, buy a bunch of floats as well when I've got, some profit to distribute, or, they've got a sale on. And so I'll often combine a sauna and a float. So yeah, I think the physical body self-care, I think my game is pretty strong there. Not having to care for small children does make a big difference in that. My demands upon my time aren't so significant because of that. So yeah, I do love a good float and a good sauna. We actually used to own a float tank a number of years ago. Tosca will remember.
I do.
When we moved here, we sold it because it just wasn't something that I could do and run my business at the same time, despite my best ideas. Didn't end up working out that way. So I do love a good float. I do love a good sauna and a very good massage as well. I can take all three.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never done float. I've never done a float ever.
I highly recommend it. But if you are prone to get claustrophobic, find one where it's just an open pool and you don't have the lid over you.
Okay.
I highly recommend it. It's like meditation, turn up the dial. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like something I need to look into.
Yeah, it's a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that I think can be a wonderful self-care practice I might put on my list. Thanks, Chenae. So just thinking about your journey and your life, what has been one of the biggest learnings or insight for you so far?
That's a big question, Tosca.
It is a very big question. Yeah.
I would have to say that it's my belief so my parents have always believed in me and always encouraged me to, I went from school into university, and it was basically whatever you want to do, you will succeed in. That was kind of the dominant narrative, which was a really beautiful environment to be brought up in. But then to believe that myself, like to take that belief and kind of translate that and not need that external, you can do it. And now to believe I can do it. And I think, having my business and supporting my half of our household income as a result of that would have to be, it's quite high up there. Like, it's not the only thing that's at the top of that list. There's quite a number of things that are sitting there, but my capacity to believe that I can do it would have to be, one of those things that sits at the top of that list for me.
That's a big one. That's a big one, because a lot of people don't, like they say, my parents are so supportive, but to bring it to your self-belief, that's when it would really have blown up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that self-belief into action.
Yeah.
like you can sit in self-belief and it's all wonderful, but to actually put it into action is the next big step.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's a good curly one for you. I've always got the curly one, sorry. When was the last time you used your intuition?
Like breakfast, maybe? Like all the time. For me, my intuition is it's not something that I switch on or off. It's just it informs everything that I do. And I think when we pause to notice and acknowledge it, what I notice is those little things where, you know, sometimes I do and I follow through and I notice it and I go, oh no, and I sort of just dismiss it. And it can be the slightest little thing. But all the time, everything that I do is informed. Like I sat when I had the beautiful invitation from the two of you, and I had looked through the email and I had a little read, and even just the decision to be here with you and when to be here with you as well. It's like, well, here's the practical aspects of these are the dates and the times that you've got available, but what feels good for me? And it's just intuitively led, because the way I dominantly receive my intuition is a felt sense. I'm a feeling intuitive predominantly. So yeah, I have I can't think of exactly what it was, but just the last week, something happened and I just tiny little nudge and I dismissed it. And it was about my fiance, and I honestly can't remember at the moment, but I then got confirmation only an hour later that I should have noticed that little bit and done something with it. And it was just the tiniest little thing about maybe groceries or something. And that was it. So yeah.
That's awesome. Good to hear that someone uses it all the time and in everyday life. That's because a lot of us, like for me, I used to always think, oh, I'm not really listening to myself. Oh, I should have really listened to myself. And I need to depend on it a little bit more than my brain.
Yeah, developing that trust, isn't it? Really, it's a practice, and that's why we call it a practice, is to practice trusting and doing it better each time. And sometimes we nail it and sometimes we don't, and that's okay.
That's right. We're only human.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we're only goddesses. Like, really? Look at you two.
Exactly. That's right. So talking about goddesses.
Yes.
That was a nice segue. What is your favorite goddess and why?
Well, it's a good question, because sometimes it changes, but generally speaking, I tend to find Carly, in all of her destruction and glory, my favorite. And it's because of that. And when I look over my life, there's been things that I've kind of burnt to the ground and kind of dismantled and pulled apart. And it's that Carly energy that inspires that. And it also shows up in a lot of the work that I do in my business too. Like Carly's the one who just comes in and calls it how it is. And a lot of my clients know that, you know, I can be really loving and really gentle, but I can also be really fierce as well if I really need to. So I gave a gorgeous client of mine an ultimatum this last week. I said, you don't get to have your session next month if this doesn't happen by then. And like, so Carly was like sitting there. It was just like right there. And it was such a beautiful moment of like choice, right? And it was just, and I said to her, you know, she's familiar with Carly as well. And it was like Carly was sat before her on the desk, just like staring her in the eyes with this really fierce, intense energy. And she's like, yeah, it's like she's sitting on my lap, actually. So I was definitely really aware of that beautiful Carly energy. But I also love that Carly has that beautiful, gentle capacity as well. You know, she's often known for the fierceness, but that it's both, right? So she would have to be my favorite. And that's why it's like that beautiful balance, because we're not just women, you know, we've got masculine and feminine energy, and we're not just human, we're anthropos, fully human and fully divine. Like it's that beautiful, and I don't know if balance is quite the right word, but it's both. So yeah.
No, that's great. That's such a great example.
Yeah.
So, Chenae, what are you celebrating right now?
I knew this question was coming, I have to admit. I just yesterday was my birthday, not my actual birthday. My birthday's in April, but just yesterday I birthed my book, my first book. So thank you. I'm claiming it as Chenaugust. So Chenaapril's my birth month. Chenaugust is my book birth month. I'm a whole month celebrating kind of gal. And I've actually got it here. So I don't have an actual copy, but this is the best I can give you at the moment because I've just ordered 50 copies to be delivered to me. But this is my little business book. So
wow, it's awesome. And of course, we will have the link from you. We will put that down below.
Yeah, I'll get that over to you. Yeah. So
congratulations
today. Thank you.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. Celebrating you in your gloriousness, because that book doesn't just come incidentally. That takes a lot of patience, a lot of surrender, a lot of grit, and a lot of determination.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you, Tosca. And Tosca and I have been on that journey together to get to the phase of getting it, submitted for assessment. And then 7 months later, like I honestly, I sat down at the start of 2022 and did my annual planning, and I put it in Q1 that I would release this book into the world. It's now August. It's not Q1 anymore. I honestly thought it would be such a fast process compared to what it actually was. Having said that, though, I could have produced it and put it out into the world in Q1, but I'm a fierce advocate for quality and for doing things of a high standard, especially in industries where they're unregulated, like the intuitive world. And so I wanted to do it the same. I wanted to produce something that's excellent and put that out into the world. I'm just looking over there because I can see someone who may or may not have inspired me to do an excellent job of producing a quality book. Ricky's the one who set the assignment in the first place. So yeah,
she's amazing.
Yes, from the Institute of Intuitive Intelligence. Very important powerhouse.
Yes,
that area. And talking about your book, I know, because I've done this, the quiz. You have a quiz that goes with your book, which is really specific and it's so accurate. So please tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. Okay. So the quiz is, because the book is called Is Your Business a Prison? That's a pretty in-your-face title. So in the book, there are 6 different prisons, and the prisons have come from the work that I've done with my clients over the years. And they are patterns that I have seen. So it's like, I see patterns of low self-esteem. I see patterns of overwhelm. I see patterns of this and patterns of that. And so the 6 prisons that I've got in the book that I take you through to help you clear and shift all of those stories, each of those has been kind of mushed up and put into a quiz where you pick your answer from one of 6 options for a question. So there's a question, I think there's 10 questions, and you just pick which one feels the most resonant for you. And then it spits out an answer at the end to say your dominant business prison right here, right now, because it can change, is this one. And then I've actually just done a little upgrade to it. It used to just tell you the main prison and give you a little bit of a spiel and then sends you an email with a video from me talking you through it. But now I've actually changed it, inspired by the beautiful Laura, my business mentor. And I've broken down all 6 of them so you can see your percentage weighting for all of the different prisons, not just the top one. Because people were really curious. A lot of people were like, oh, I thought I'd get this one, or I'm really surprised because the low self-esteem one is the highest answer by far, like by a significant, like if there's a lot of people in that big chunk, and then the other 5 are kind of scattered about. And yeah, so the little upgrade that I've done recently came from that, because people wanted to know. They wanted to know, like, what else was going on with the other 5. So I added that in, and you can retake the quiz if you've already done it, or if you haven't, then you'll just get that as a standard option now. So yeah, that's a free little quiz that I built. It was fun to put together. The first quiz that I've built.
Amazing.
it's lots of fun to kind of test it and put things in. And I know my journey because there's a prison that's in the book that's actually my prison at the moment, my dominant prison. But then there's one that was my prison way back when I started my business. So I can kind of plug in the answers as to what I was like back then, and it spits out the appropriate response as to whether it's now or then. And yeah, kind of fun.
Wow, you're so clever.
Well, I did get a bit of help building the quiz, I must admit, but thank you for the praise. I appreciate it.
I hope you can't hear the banging on my door. My cat wants to get in.
Having a good time. The cat wants to be part of the party.
Yeah, she's like, let me in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, beautiful Chenae. Thank you for this absolutely inspiring, glorious conversation. And it is such an honor to have you on the Fierce Goddess Collective podcast. It truly is. And to be gifted with your energy, love, and passion.
Mm-hmm.
And just to say thank you and, finish this beautiful podcast. May you be happy, may you be well, and may you always be loved, glorious one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both. Such a privilege and an honor. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Dear goddesses, if you love this Fierce Goddess Collective podcast, please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
And if you want some more information on our special guest today, all the links can be found down below. And remember, goddesses, stay fierce.